evening. Welcome to the Calvert County Planning Commission regular meeting of Wednesday, December 18th, 2024. To establish a quorum, we'll take attendance. Commissioner Freeland?
Here.
Commissioner Gadway, are you there electronically?
Present.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Holler?
Yes.
Commissioner Kernan?
Here.
Commissioner McQueen?
Here.
Commissioner Weems?
Here.
We have full attendance. If everybody would stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us to item 3, actions on the proposed agenda.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. We have a agenda approved. On the summary of actions, the Planning Commission public hearing from November 20th.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve,
Second.
and we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. And also for the November 20th Planning Commission, the regular meeting that we had that day.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
That brings us to item number 5, recognitions of persons attending the meeting. Tonight from Planning and Zoning, we have Mary Beth Cook, Director. We have Jason Brinkley, Deputy Director of Planning. We have virtual with us tonight, Judy Makel, Deputy Director of Zoning. Present with us tonight, we have Tay Harris, Long Range Planner. We have Amalia Pleak-Tam, Planner 3. We have Jay Cousineau attending virtually, Planner 3, and Jessica Gattano, Planner 3. And present tonight, we have Kat Lockwood, Planner 2. And I am Tamara Blake Wallace, the Planning Commission Administrator. And we also have Becky Parkinson, which is our Planning Commission Clerk, and John Mattingly serving as our legal counsel tonight. That brings us to item number 6, major subdivisions for final review and action. We do not have any on the agenda tonight. Item 7, applications for site plan review and action. There are no items tonight. Item 8, major subdivision applications for preliminary review and action. There are no items on the agenda tonight. Brings us to item 9, long-range planning. Item A, Prince Frederick Town Center Master Plan update.
Good evening.
Good evening. I am Tay Harris. I'm the long-range planner for the Department of Planning and Zoning. Tonight, I am here to discuss with you revisions made to the June 2024 Prince Frederick Town Center Master Plan draft, now referred to as the December 2024 Master Plan draft. Before I go into discussing the revisions, I'd like to just go over with a brief condensed timeline to remind everyone of the plan's development. The plan was originally commenced in January of 2020 and prepared, and the 60-day comment period was conducted through July 2021. Subsequent to the comment period conclusion, staff came to Planning Commission several times to discuss revisions to the draft plan and seek the Planning Commission's guidance. Between June 2022 and November 2022, the Board of County Commissioners requested and approved amendments to the 2019 Comprehensive Plan to significantly reduce the Town Center Phase 2 expansion area, which put a stop to the preparation of the draft plan. In January 2023, staff resumed preparing the plan, and they eliminated references to the expansion Phase 2 area and started working on the conversion of the draft plan into flipbook format. In March of 2024, staff presented a status of the flip book to the Planning Commission. And then in June 2024, staff presented the revised draft plan to the Planning Commission, and staff was directed to commence a 90-day comment period. In October, staff brought the plan and the comments back to the Planning Commission and was directed to incorporate comments into the draft plan and bring it back to you tonight to present the revisions. Specifically, staff was directed to address comments made by the Department of Public Works, as well as address the proposed conservation area that was originally in the July 21 draft and taken out of the June 2024 draft. Planning Commission also directed staff to provide the draft to the Planning Commission and to the public in early December. Okay, so substantial changes to the draft. The December draft that under consideration tonight has a message of managing growth. The June draft's main message was to incentivize growth. The reason for this change is because when the draft plan was originally prepared, most of the residential development was located outside of the town center. However, the requirement for reduced number of TDRs to encourage denser development in the town center was in effect. So this has resulted from 2020 to September 2024, 800 plus apartments and townhouse units in the pipeline for the town center. Some of these units have been constructed, but most of them are either under review, approved and not yet constructed, or under construction. So in response to that, this draft plan is consistent with the Calvert County zoning ordinance update and recommends reduce the allowable density from 7 units per acre to 4 units per acre, as I said, to be consistent with the Calvert County zoning ordinance update. It also requires 5 TDRs for every additional unit, regardless of unit type. This plan also recommends allowing the recreational excise tax to be used for expanded activities such as trails that connect neighborhoods to the larger Prince Frederick Town Center bikeways network, whereas the previous plan recommended reducing residential excise taxes. So that is taken off the table as well. This plan also incorporates commercial and institutional redevelopment acquisition activities along Armory Road and Main Street, and addresses encouraging commercial mixed-use development along MD24, and only mixed-use commercial development. The previous draft plan recommended mixed-use development of commercial and residential development. This draft plan also recommends 3 focus areas, where the previous draft plan recommended several focus areas that were not fully developed. But the focus areas in this draft plan are along Armory Road to incorporate the redevelopment activities and the planned civic use along Armory Road, as well as the residential development coming online. This plan also recommends focusing on Main Street and its revitalization, recognizing the activities conducted through the county with acquisition of properties and redevelopment for the Community Resources Hub and the redevelopment of the CAB building. And it also acknowledges and supports the county's intent to pursue the Main Street affiliation designation along Main Street, which will encourage revitalization and mixed use, commercial and residential. And also considers a density up to 14 units per acre in the Main Street area for revitalization purposes. And lastly, the third focus area is along Prince Frederick Boulevard, where it is recommended to create a bikeways lane that connects the Prince Frederick Library to residential development establishments along Prince Frederick Boulevard. In addressing the Forest District that is located in the southwest quadrant of the town center, this draft plan recommends that the county apply the proposed natural resource protection area provisions in Article 21 of the Calvert County zoning ordinance update to protect the stream valleys that is part of the Parkers Creek headwaters located in this area. And the natural resource protection area provisions, what they do is they require an expanded buffer for sensitive area lands. So you'll have your streams, floodplains, steep slopes, highly erodible soils. And this area of the town center, looking at it through a desktop analysis, staff has determined that applying the natural resource protection area will protect this area while allowing very limited development. And then lastly, this draft plan removes references to road improvements that were in the Phase 2 expansion area of the town center. That was significantly reduced in 2022, also addressing Department of Public Works comments made on the June 2024 draft. So staff's requesting from you all tonight to provide comments and feedback on the revised draft plan, December 2024 draft, and provide staff with direction on whether to proceed with the public hearing or make further revisions. But before you direct staff, I'd just like to remind you that due to legal notice requirements, the soonest we could have a public hearing would be in February.
For the February meeting,
Yes,
the scheduled February meeting?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Dr. Holler?
Yes, thank you. Just some data so I understand where we're going. You talk about what's in the pipeline for Prince Frederick Town Center, and I look back over all of the agendas that I've seen in the years I've been on here. There's almost never anything. How many units are in the pipeline for Prince Frederick?
More than 800.
More than 800, okay. And they have gone through preliminary approval and all that business?
Some of them are going through the approval process now, or well on their way. Some of them have been approved but haven't been constructed, and some are currently under construction. I think like Phase 4 of the Prince Frederick crossing, which is included in those 800, because that goes back to 2020 to present.
Second question is really unrelated, but just for more information. Since we're changed the whole TDR utilization thing, do we know the number of unpurchased TDRs that are lying out there where the farmer has already sold at least one and therefore they can't get out of the program? Do we know how many, because there is no private market now, we've killed that. So I presume in the end, and I don't want to speak for you, but I presume in the end, the presumption is the county's going to buy them all. That may or may not be true. But it is important either way to know how many are lying out there right now that these farmers need to be reimbursed for if they try to sell them.
Mary Beth Cook, Director of Planning and Zoning. I'm going to give you a number, and it's close. It's about 6,500 TDRs for which they are locked into the program and have sold at least one TDR.
Right.
There's more like 8,000 to 9,000 out there for existing land that's in the preservation program that's been preserved but may not have sold or certified their TDRs yet.
Okay. Does that, with what's in the pipeline, from your perspective as a professional, you feel that there's room to absorb those that would legally meet the new requirement within the town center?
They would be grandfathered if they get a pending. So the change hasn't actually happened yet. It's going to happen in the update to the Calvert County zoning ordinance if adopted.
Okay.
When adopted. And so they would, if they remain vested and get approval, however the resolution gets adopted stating how grandfathering will be considered, would remain under the existing regulations.
Okay, and I know this is a guess on my part and yours, but if the county ended up having to buy all of those, how much debt would we have to create?
So right now, in our land preservation budget, we have about $11 million.
Good.
So the commissioners have offered $6,500 a TDR, and through our PAR program, we're not getting a lot of interest.
Now, I knew that.
Yeah, but you can also sell to our reserve program, which is the same price. The county buys TDRs for $6,500, and that goes into a reserve. Then a developer can buy from that at
Okay.
the same price.
A corollary question. Since there is no private market, how do we determine what the taxpayers, because that's who in the end is going to pay for all this, how do we determine what the value of a TDR is under these circumstances? The last number I heard was 5,800, but we're up to 6,500 now.
Right.
And I looked back through, and the last arm's length sale I could find was $2,800. So we've doubled that already.
We do an analysis every year before the price is set for the Agricultural Preservation Advisory Board based on what the Maryland State Program, the MOUF program, is selling for, what Rural Legacy is, using for their easements, and all of that's taken into consideration.
Okay. Those are my questions. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Kay, can you bring up the track changes?
I don't have
You don't have it there? Okay,
that access.
I'll try to shoot for it. So first off, thank you very much for supplying us with the track changes format. I found that to be extremely helpful.
You're welcome.
Slide 18 of the track changes, which I think is 17 if you're looking at the document.
Okay.
It talks about county acquisitions. You mentioned the Harriet Brown Community Center. This is actually the interim community center, and there is no mention.
Mr. Holler, I'm just, sorry. Mr. Freedom, what paragraph are you in?
I'm on page 17, slide 18, and it's like the 1, 2, 3, fourth one down, fourth paragraph down. It starts out by the early 1990s. So there's mention of the Harriet Brown Community Center, which is the building that we're currently in, but this is actually the interim. And there is no mention of the land that was acquired for the permanent, and I believe it's the Harriet Elizabeth Brown Community Center and Park. Was that the official name that was given it? So that's my first one.
Okay.
Now bear with me, let me see if I can figure out how to get to the others. So then on slide 34, the section of important bird areas, IBAs,
Yes.
you deleted the entire section because your note says the IBA is located in another county. Parkers Creek is still in Calvert County, right?
Right. I believe the IBA was referring to.
Jug Bay is listed on here.
Yes.
Jug Bay is not, but Parkers Creek is, and Parkers Creek is a listed IBA.
Okay, so you would like that added back in because the town center sits in the Parkers Creek watershed. Okay.
And then the last one is simply some language. Bear with me. 39, slide 39. It's talking about the history of the courthouse, I think it is.
Okay. Okay,
Which paragraph?
1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph down. About the middle of the paragraph, the existing building is the 5th County Courthouse, many of which are located on large lots and set back from surrounding environment.
yep, that seems like a track changes snafu.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, so, really that actually was referring to, that language was added, the large lots, but for historic buildings and architectural compatibility. And
So you-
really what we were trying to say is a lot of historic buildings are set back on large lots.
So, I
in
mean, the
town
history of the
center.
courthouse is, there's been a courthouse pretty much in the same spot in Prince Frederick every time.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes,
you
so
can,
just fix that.
yeah,
Okay,
and that's all I have.
thank you.
All right, Commissioner Freeland. Gentlemen, anyone else? Comments? Questions? Commissioner Gadway, we're not leaving you out of this, are we, buddy?
No, sir, I'm tracking. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
I'm just actually being quiet for a meeting.
I hope that's not gonna be a new policy.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir?
I move that we direct staff to schedule a public hearing for this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second from Commissioner Gadway remotely. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. That moves us on to item 10, items for discussion and/or action. Item A, development review process change. So this evening, planning commissioners, in your packet, you have a memo from me and a chart referencing some of the concerns that we've heard from the planning commission and the development community in reference to the planning commission wanting to see more detailed plans, and the development community saying that the concept plans are turning into preliminary or detailed site plans. They're wanting too much detail in the concept. So staff, we went back, we looked at the process to see what we could do to improve it. As you know now, the process is a 3-step process that was mandated by the state basically for stormwater management purposes. So a few years ago, the process was changed to this 3-step process. What we have done, we have kept it a 3-step process, but we have looked at making concept exactly what it is, a concept plan to be reviewed once by staff and to be completed. They also have the opportunity to come in for a pre-concept, which is just a down dirty, just quick and easy. Yes, you can proceed with the concept plan. They'll come in, they'll do their stormwater management, and work with Department of Public Works at that time to get all their stormwater management done, get their approval before they come in to submit their detailed site plan at this point. What will happen is that once they get to detailed site plan with this new process, they will then be looking at getting most of, if not all of their approvals at that stage. You will see the approved concept stormwater management plan, which it will still be tweaked at that point, but it'll be a more complete plan. Most of the environmental comments and things will be worked out as far as the forest stand delineation, the wetlands, MDE permit applications, critical area commission referrals, et cetera. The traffic analysis and impact studies will be complete. The preliminary road plans will be submitted and reviewed. The road name requests will be approved and on the plans, and SHA will be able to do a little bit more thorough review. We'll have cultural resources referrals. at that time, look at architectural review for building elevations, et cetera. Health Department review, the adequate public facilities certifications for all, which will include schools, roads, water and sewer, public safety, sheriff's office, will all be looked at that stage, and some preliminary certificates or mitigation will be decided. Water and sewer will have a more complete review. The Agricultural Review Board, SMECO, and Board of Appeals variances and special exceptions will be done. All of that will be completed prior to coming to the Planning Commission at that time. So you'll have a more complete plan with more details. By the time that plan gets to you, there will be, at this time, the current plans that you're seeing have a laundry list of quite a few conditions that have to be completed. With the new process, by the time they do come to you, they will be more complete plans, and you should see less conditions that have to be met. And they're pretty much ready to probably move on to final at that time to complete. So I just wanted to bring that to the Planning Commission for discussion and comment. And we would like to see this plan implemented with the new zoning ordinance requirements. So at this time, I'm open for discussion, questions, comments.
Gentlemen, questions, comments?
So Mayor, this is a much more straightforward and streamlined process, I think. My question is, how much more work does this put on your staff? And do you have the staff to do this?
It's the same amount of work, pretty much. It's just in different steps. So we are looking at we're looking at the timeframes now to see what we can do to help improve the timeframes of review. This will also help staff because at this time they present these plans to our TEG, SEG, technical evaluation and subdivision evaluation groups, and they have to be submitted at a certain time. So we could get 7 or 8 plans or more in for review, and they all have a review time deadline for comments at the same time. With the new process, they will be able to submit whenever they want to, which keeps staff at a kind of stagger the reviews for staff, that they're not looking at 14 plans that are all due on the same day. So it will help streamline our process a little bit, take a little bit of pressure off of staff. But at this time, I don't see that it'll burden us.
Do you anticipate any hiccups from the developers?
Well, we have vetted this out to a few of them, and they haven't expressed any concerns. Actually, they've been pretty forthcoming in helping to move this process along.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Tamara, where in the review process do we see soil conservation?
Soil conservation falls in under the detailed site plan also. Well, I don't think we've listed every review in here, but we listed the pertinent ones. But transportation, as far as the bus system, all of them will be included in the process.
Gentlemen, is that it? Sir, is there anything else that you need from us on this?
No, just your blessings. That you're satisfied with that more detailed site plan coming forth to you. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Ma'am.
All right, that moves us on to item 11, items of interest. Item A, we would just like to announce that the Planning Commission special meeting will be held on December 30th, 2024, here at the Harriet Brown Center at 7 p.m. And it'll be regarding the Calvert County zoning ordinance update. The deadline to receive any written comments will be at 4:30 p.m. at the close of business on Friday, December the 20th. Those comments can be sent to ZOUpdate at Calvert County, Maryland. Oh, I'm sorry, zoupdate@calvertcountymd.gov. And just a reminder to the Planning Commission staff, you'll receive those packets electronically, as you will receive the remainder of your packets electronically. So if you have, they should be coming to you at least by the weekend or Monday, okay, of that week, the week before the meeting.
Thank you.
That moves us on to item B, site plans and subdivision lists. This is for information only. Are there any questions, concerns, comments? Okay. That moves us on to item 12, public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak? Mr. Esty?
My name is Bob Estes, and I'll be speaking for Friends of Hunting Creek tonight. First, a quick note for Commissioner Holler. Yes, you had mentioned TDRs.
Mr. Estes, I'm sorry. You can take the microphone off and hold it if you like. It'll be easier for us to hear you. Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. I'm not used to this at all. But you were talking about TDRs and the values and such like that.
Right.
One thing that you also have to consider is the ecosystem values that undeveloped land provides, and it's significant. And I've provided copies of that from time to time to various people. So that's something that we should also consider, not just plain dollars and cents in the bank.
Yeah, and I don't want to divert you from what you were saying, because I'm a child of the Depression. I always think, well, what's it going to cost, and who's going to pay for it? And that's was obviously behind my question. Now she indicated we had $11 million and et cetera. I won't say this is an accurate number, but I ran a test number when I thought the price of them was, I think, $5,800 or something, and that added up to $70 million. Now, I may be completely out in left field, but it worries me. Who's going to pay the bill, and how much is the bill going to be? And I'm very, very much in favor of land preservation. Don't have any trouble at all with that. I just want to know who's going to pay for it and how we're going to get it paid.
Gotcha. I don't know if I get any extra minutes for.
You will.
No.
You will.
Well, anyway, in an earlier meeting, you all asked about including, considering steep slopes and such along with, in the same way that we consider wetlands in terms of subtracting those out for various, and I'd like to give you maybe some information or a boost to maybe consider that once again, because you don't always get a good reading of what's buildable and what isn't just by looking at wetlands. We do have buffers around a lot of the steep slopes, but I've seen slopes not so steep that actually erode because of the soil. So it's not just the slope, okay? And I think you all know this. Anyone that's farmed the land I know knows this. But I've seen 5% slopes that erode, and the buffers in place do not prevent either the water nor the sediment from going down into the wetlands. So it's potentially linked to the wetlands, and so that might be a consideration for you all to consider. Now, this will be going into the into the ordinance, not into the Prince Frederick. And I would recommend that all slopes greater than 25%, along with their buffer areas, plus a 50% margin on that, would give you at least what I would think of as a minimum amount of protection, which is what we're looking for. Better yet would be to also consider the 15% and higher slopes in some fashion. And there are apps out there available to anybody on the web that can show you things about soil fragility. Sometimes they show the soils as being very fragile, but that's before anything's done in terms of mitigating that. So it's not always the best way of looking at it. But it does give you an idea of just how fragile the soils are around here. I think most of you know that. But until you go out and see it for yourself, and I know at least one person here who has done some of that with me, you don't realize just how easily these slopes erode. And when they erode, there's no going back. That all gets deposited into our waterways, into the Hunting Creek, into the Patuxent, and on the other side into the bay. And it's not just dirt. Believe me, the ecology of those waterways do notice the difference. Go ask Commissioner Ireland or some of the people that have lived on the water for some time, and they'll tell you that that's the truth of that. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak? Okay. Is there anyone online who wishes to speak? If you are calling in, you can use *6 to unmute. Okay, we do not have any speakers online. That brings us to item 13, adjournment.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn, a second? Second. Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you, sir. Wish you all a Merry Christmas. We'll see you before the New Year, though.